for you guys. Welcome to Good News and Company. Share the live stream. I've been on for a couple of minutes on Instagram already, and for some reason the broadcast didn't kick on here. We're live on YouTube and we're live on Facebook. If you search for Share on Facebook, or facebook.com/we have to share one, all one word, you'll find our page. And the goal of the show is to show up at 1:30 every single day. I kind of want to share an interesting story with you guys about the idea about the show, the idea about this. A lot of you guys will know that I've had a few surgeries, might have to have more, and I kind of been laid up and kind of just in a rough physical season right now, and so it's limited a lot of what I can do. But a friend of mine one day was like, you know what, you can reach people right there from that couch. And I was like, you're right. You're right. I can do that. And so it was perfect timing because I had already kind of been thinking through how to stream, what to do, how to, get together. I already started buying little things here and there. I got the webcam and I got a couple other things put together, and I still have quite a few more things to go, apparently, to get together a good live stream. But we're getting there, and we're one thing at a time, and we're just moving and building. But just starting with what I got, starting with where I am, I knew that I could sign on every day at a certain time, and I didn't know exactly what the time was, but figured out what the time was, and I could just go live, and I could just figure out who's here. And if there's someone that needs to know that they're not alone or needs to just count on something that's going to be good news in their day, that at 1:30 every day, Monday through Friday, I was just going to show up. Part of the idea came from you guys ever seen the movie? Oh yeah, yeah. So we talked about this last week, but the movie, I don't know why I keep forgetting about it. There's a movie with Will Smith and the zombies, and anyways, in the movie, he shows up at the pier every single day at noon, and he does a radio broadcast. And from the broadcast comes like eventually someone hears the broadcast, and the world is saved or whatever. Because he was consistently at the pier broadcasting at noon, and his wasn't exactly good news, but for me, I felt like if I could just get myself to the pier at 1:30 on Monday through Friday and just broadcast, we're just going to see what God does in the space and what we can achieve. And achieve is a terrible word because I don't care about accomplishing anything. I'm just doing what I can do with what I got. And so showing up every day at 1:30 for Good News and Company, you know that I'm going to be here no matter what, every day during this time. And the time might change at some point, and the setup's definitely going to change at some point, but we're just going to be consistent because I feel like that's what God's telling me to do. Is for me, I need to be consistent with like participating in a thing. And I need to, and this particular thing, he's created me to share. And so I just want to consistently share. So I also just realized that the music that was playing earlier, you guys didn't hear because I screwed something up. So this is all practice for when I think it kind of grows and gets bigger. But I'm coming in with a heavy heart today. I'm not gonna lie. This another mass shooting in Colorado. There's not words. There's not words that can really explain how much my heart break, because I know that this shatters an entire community. It chips away at the fabric of hope in this country. I watch people double down on their side and get into their corners and defend what they got, and it's heartbreaking, and it's just so much loss and so many broken stories. There's acts of bravery spread throughout, including an officer that lost his life. But it's so much heartbreak, and it's so hard to hear. And I feel like we just keep. I just feel like we just keep hearing hard things and having our hearts broken as a country. And And then when you hear people, start to chop it up or justify it or not, they're just running to their corners and doubling down on things that are just, irrelevant when there's loss of life. And so, I have a heavy heart around that. I also asked yesterday my Instagram. I have two Instagrams that I'm just gonna run both because I have people that follow me on Joel David Barnes at Joel David Barnes Instagram. They're both on the screen. And I have people that are just following the We Have to Share Instagram, and we're gonna try and run kind of similar content on both for a while until eventually we move everything to the We Have to Share stuff. But for right now, I think that I'm part of the ministry, so I'm gonna like one of the only people that's in the ministry. So we're gonna do both, and I'm gonna kind of put out messages in both places. But I put out the question yesterday, like, what kind of things do you guys want to talk about? And only God timing. Where right around the same time, and I was asking that, someone was responding, that he specifically, I'll find the exact post, but it was that he wanted to essentially figure out how to walk with people that were suffering loss, that were bereaved, were his words. And so I saved some of the responses, and how to be present for people who are bereaved. And our conversation now here's what I want to make sure is very clear. Just because I started doing something, I don't expect or think that I have the answers. I don't think I have the majority of the answers. I think that I'm just being obedient with something that literally God has provided the way. I have all this equipment because we started a podcast, me and my kid, the Daddy Daughter podcast. If you want to listen to it and you're a parent and whatever, or not a parent and you want to listen to it, it's great. But I had the equipment, and I had, a computer that's good enough to start for now, and I had the need to occupy mental capacity and mental space. So I was just kind of I just feel like I'm just doing what I'm told, and I don't have all the answers. But an opportunity like this to talk to someone, first to ask a question about what kind of stuff is it that we should talk about on this show, and then for the conversation to kind of develop from that point, where he presented me with the question, like, how to be present for people who are bereaved. And here's the thing, I don't have the right answer. I don't have the correct answer for this. Matter of fact, if anything, I think that it's something that I struggle with. And then it started to lead to a, well, you know what? If it's something that I struggle with, then it's something that I could work on. And so I flipped the question back to him and said, you are a person who has suffered loss recently in your life. What is it that you need, that you needed? And then he and I proceeded to have this conversation. At the same time, just ironically, prior to even having this conversation with him, I had reached out to a friend of mine who I know has recently lost her husband. And I wasn't trying to, and I don't have the right answers. I don't have the right things to say to her. There's nothing that I could say to her that would make anything okay for experiencing and going through the loss and the pain that she's going through right now. I sat there and I was like, God, just give me something good to say. Just give me something wise. And he didn't. And I get it. I understood it. I understood that it meant more that it meant more that my intention or my heart was pointed towards just trying to be with a friend or be with someone than it was that I had the right thing to say or a good thing to say or a good quote or a good quip. And on the heels of this tragedy yesterday, on the heels of over 500,000 Americans losing their lives in 2020, losing their lives, on the heels of so much death and so much loss, I don't know about you guys, but it's made me feel like I had less to say. It's made me feel like I was more confused. It's made me feel like I was more inadequate to walk with people. And through this conversation and over the course of this conversation, what I started to realize slowly but surely, first of all, what an amazing topic for him to bring up. And I'm thankful. And I haven't really asked about him to share his name or not, and I should have. I'll get better about it. But what an amazing question to present, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to have the back and forth that he and I had today, because what it was doing was it was teaching me because I wanted to know, if that makes sense, because I cared, because I not because I'm qualified to answer it. And when I mean qualified, I mean not because I have immediately experienced loss in this way. I have not. My grandfather was one of the most traumatic losses of my life. I was 18. That was 24 years ago. You know, and I cannot think back to when I was 18 what I could have needed, would have needed. And so when I started talking to him about it, and his first of all, part of the answer is in his question, how to be present. Like just being present with for someone is probably more than half the battle. Not trying to fix it, not trying to create a I know what it's like, because you don't know what it's like. You don't have the fabric of a relationship that has been developed the same way another person experiencing loss could have woven that fabric together. There's no way that you could understand. And I think sometimes that's what makes us less likely to engage, because we don't know what to say. We don't have the right words. I think sometimes it's even like, if you think about this tragedy yesterday, it's probably the reason why most people will never say anything about 10 people, 10 human beings losing their life, because the circumstance seems so much bigger than anything that we could wrap our heads around, and that is absolutely 100% true. But I don't think that it's reason enough for us to be paralyzed with our response or lack of response to people when they're in that suffering. And so a couple things came out of our conversation, and I should probably pull it up so I can read some of the wisdom, because I thought it was really interesting. He asked me a question to present to present on the show, and all I could think was, what do you need, bro? Like what is it that you need? Like what is it that you need right now? Like you have recently gone through this. What is it that you can say that you've needed? And and he said, as long as I can think of, I've been in the church, and I have walked with people who are suffering in by showing up. And I thought that was really interesting. And I wish I had more of a chat audience right now, because what I would do right now, if I had more people on here, I'd be like, hey, does anybody have an experience around Shabbat? Because I know that Shabbat is grieving with someone, sitting, literally showing up, and in the Jewish culture is literally showing up and sitting with that person. And I can't say that I have a ton of information to this, and I apologize for that. But when I know of it, I can remember someone saying to me that they're sitting Shabbat with someone else, that they were literally taking a shift. Like they were going to go sit Shabbat. Like they were taking a shift so that this person wasn't alone, who had lost their husband, or lost their I think it was lost their husband. And I think that in and of itself says so much about what the culture, how the culture has created a structure around grieving, and around mourning, and around sitting with people who are suffering. For me, we have obviously, like you hear thoughts and prayers, and to be honest with you, like I am not jaded by that term, as some people say. what I'm jaded by is the emptiness of the sentiment. I'm jaded. I get jaded and I get pissed off at Christians when Christians say things like that and then don't do it, and then don't pray, that aren't actually praying for me. And you know what I feel like? I feel like, man, God will be pissed at you in this particular moment. If you use tools of his for connection and they're just used at a skin deep or surface level, but to actually pray, but to actually sit Shabbat, to actually like sit with a person, say, to check on a person. What was really weird about today was that I was actually in the middle of checking on somebody. And like I said, I was checking on someone who had lost her husband. And it was only God timing, because I could hear the pain even though we were texting. I could understand the pain that I was here. I could not understand it. I could hear the pain through text that I was here. I could hear it. I could hear it through text. I had no idea that in this particular moment, it was something that checking on her or connection was something that she needed deeply. But I could feel it. I could feel it. I could feel the sadness. And she told me that it would be just a couple of days, until the next month anniversary of her husband passing. And I didn't know that. I had no idea. It doesn't, she says that it seems like it's been forever. And, I don't have the words. I don't know. And like I said, I prayed for the words. I prayed for something that I could say that would show up for her, that would show her some love. And I just didn't have the words. And I think that when God doesn't give me words, I think that might mean it. That might be it. That might be sometimes you just got to keep your mouth shut and just be with someone. Sometimes you just got to let them know, I'm here. I have no idea what you're going through. We have no idea what these folks in Colorado are going through right now. We have no idea the amount of people that were in that grocery store that will be shell shocked from shopping for groceries, that will be changed from doing day-to-day activities. The trauma that is going on there. All we can do is pray. All we can do is pray for people like my friend who lost her husband. And so I'm going to do that. And, I can go back over this conversation, but the main came out of the question that he ended up answering for me was that being present and being present and showing up for people is a majority of what people need when they're in pain. And as much as you can from their perspective, as much as you can from their point of view, to engage with them. If they that they love chocolates, get them chocolates. That they love it, but if that they love it, not that you want to buy them chocolates or you want to get flowers, but it's something that that they love. Or my friend, she loves champagne. Well, I'm not going to give her champagne. I mean, that's the life we had together. We were in service industry forever, and I remember. I can tell you right now, her favorite champagne is Krug. It was Krug. I believe it was Krug. I'm not going to get her a bottle of Krug. I'm going to remind her, hey, you know how long I've known you? I've known you so long that you used to love Krug because it was so expensive that you used to get all the guys to buy the bottles of Krug. And that's a memory that I'm going to share with her in a few minutes. Not because you know what? Sometimes I just want, because I feel led, and I feel like it was something that I stumbled across in my thinking of her, thinking of times and the good old days or whatever it is. And I think it might make her at least chuckle for a little bit, chuckle as a laugh. Maybe it'll make her have a 2-minute laugh. And maybe she just needs to laugh a little bit today, you know? And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna remind my friend that she used to get all the guys to buy Krug at the nightclub that we used to run. But in the meantime, what I am going to do right now, because it is what I can do, and it is what I have the power to do. So often we feel helpless. I want to remind you all. I want to remind you all that you are not helpless. That you have power. That you can call on the God that has created you. Turn to him and ask for help. Turn to him or her. Look, we're not going to do like the semantics thing, but turn to God, the being that is above being male or female, the being that is above being human, the being that is above pettiness, the being that creates, the being that is sitting with our friends in heaven, the being that is always there, the one who is the answer. Love. That's who I want to talk to when I don't know where to go. That's who I want to talk to when I'm having hard and painful days. That's who I want to talk to when I know people are having hard and painful days. And so I'm going to pray for people in Colorado. I'm going to pray for my friend. I'm going to pray for my own pain. I'm going to pray for my kid and whatever else comes up. And what I want you to understand and what I want you to hear, I started to do something in order to show that people are not alone. And I don't think that it's a coincidence that I have felt less alone um through this particular project, and that it was something that I needed. But you know what has helped me to understand that I'm not alone is that I can call on something greater than me. In the middle of my pain, in the middle of suffering, I can call, I can say, yo, this is all I have to do. And if you pray, then pray with me. If you don't, observe if you want to, or turn it off. But this is when I pray, this is what it sounds like. Dear Dad, dear Father, dear Heavenly Father, dear, some people say Abba, because in the Bible, Abba was the way to refer to like your daddy. Dear Father. I don't have the right words. I don't have it. I cannot tell you the pain that my friend is going through right now. I cannot understand it. I cannot understand the pain that these folks in Colorado are experiencing right now. But you do. And you're there. And you're with them. And you will comfort them. And you will comfort her. And you will comfort my friend who has, when I asked him today, have you experienced loss? He said, lots. You have been with him every single time. And I want to thank you for that. And I want to just ask you, God, to be with people who are experiencing loss. I want to ask on their behalf for you to be with people that are experiencing pain, to be there with people who are experiencing heartache. I want to ask that you step into that space and let them see you tangibly. Let them see that they're not alone. That is, for some reason, I have been obsessed with this concept and this notion for my whole life because I think I have needed to know it. I've needed to know that I wasn't going through everything alone, Lord. But when dark days come, when death shows up, when pain shows up, and when pain overtakes health, people need to see and feel you more than ever. People need your spirit, your power to lift their spirits. They need to be able to lift their heads. They need to know that they're not alone. They need to feel your hand and gently guide them into the next season. That's not something that other human beings can do, but Lord, we just pray and ask that you continue to show us how to walk with people that are in pain, how to walk, how to be with each other, how not to run from it, but how to lean in towards it. So Lord, teach us that when someone crosses our mind that we know has been in pain, that know has suffered loss, that we just have the courage to be like, hey, so and so, I'm thinking about you and I love you and I'm here. Even when we don't have the words, when we don't have anything to offer, just take that away from us. Take that desire to offer or fix away from us. Strip it from us as human beings and give us the power to step into bravely just check on people, check on each other. Lord, I don't know. I don't know what you're going to do in Colorado. I don't know what you're going to do to pick up these pieces. My heart is broken for these folks. My heart is broken for my friends who have lost people that they love. But the good news today, Lord, for me is that you're there and that you've never left and that you're there to help pick up the pieces. And God, I'll name it. I don't know why you let things like this happen. I don't know why you let tragedies happen. I don't know why. I'm just thankful that you're there. I'm just thankful that you're on the other side of them. And so that is our prayer, that you just, in a tangible way, show up for people that are experiencing pain, people that are experiencing loss in any form, and that you continue to be the good Father that we can trust and rely on day to day, in and out of our lives. We love you so much. I love you so much. Amen. Amen. Days. It only took me 7 days to cry on chat. That's it. It only took me 7 days. On stream. But honestly, I just thank God that he's in charge, you know? I just thank God. I just thank God that every single time I've ever experienced anything hard or tragedy, that he's been on the other side. That it's ultimately always done something. It's always shown me something. It's always allowed me to grow in some way. And so that's my prayer today. That's the good news today. The good news today is that you're not alone, whether or not you're in the worst season of your life or whether you're experiencing loss. That's it. That's the good news. That's all I got. It's felt like a heavy day today. Yeah, it felt like a heavy day. It's felt like I could feel people's sadness today. And I feel like I'm just so thankful that God's in charge. I'm just so thankful that I don't have to have the right answer all the time. I'm so thankful that I don't have to have the right thing to say all the time. I'm thankful that no matter what, he's always working good. He's always working for the good of those who love him. And that's what I know and that's what I believe. And I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful that I have this space to process out loud. Can you believe last week I forgot that I had therapy? I forgot that I had my therapy appointment. It was Wednesday and I totally forgot. I think what that does, first of all, it says that I'm a huge jerk. I have alerts and everything set up. I have reminders because sometimes I forget what day of the week it is. I have reminders set up. I have all these things, but I think that what it said to me the most was that this project is starting to help me process things that I might not even get a chance to process in that hour. So normally, Wednesday, 11 o'clock, I'm like, I'm at the computer, like waiting to process something. But what I think it said is that I've been processing so much in the last like 7 days and over the weekend and whatever it is. And I just think it's healthy. And like I said it before, but if it's just for one other person and me, then this processing publicly is worth it, because it means that it's 200% increase on the return, on God's return. So he lets me go through something and then I share it. And because of that, maybe if one other person hears it, knows they're not alone, then it's worth it. And that's really my opinion about it. And thank God that's my opinion about it, because I think one person might have tuned into the live stream on Instagram or YouTube, and no one stayed on consistently on Instagram, but that's okay. Like I said, one person had to have heard something in over the culmination or over the whole duration of this particular show. And as long as one person knows they're not alone, then this is wild success to me. And something else, it's worth it just to make sure that I have the opportunity to pray for somebody else. It's worth it. Sit and say, man, we got to pray for people. We actually have to do it. And also, I want you to hear one other thing. That's how easy it is. That's how easy it is. If you, instead of thoughts and prayers, actually pray. Actually pray. Like, and if you hear those words come out of your mouth, yeah, my thoughts and prayers are with you, then your next responsibility is to actually do it, to actually pray, to actually go to God on behalf of somebody else. What an honor it is to be able to go to God on behalf of somebody else. But that's your next responsibility. If you hear and or feel those words coming out of your mouth, if you hear and or feel those words being typed, then the very next thing you need to do is to make sure you do it. And with that being said, it's a shorter stream today, but it's all good. We'll be back tomorrow for day 8. Thursday, we have a special guest. We have a special guest coming up Thursday. I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. But we will, until then, don't forget to share. Don't forget to share. I think that's the thing that I say at the end of the streams now. But yeah, don't forget to share. And we will talk to y'all very, very soon. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out.